What were the Thunderbolts doing whilst Knull, god of the symbiotes, takes over the entire planet? So today we're recapping 3 issues from the King in Black storyline. Now these 3 issues focus on the Thunderbolts and what they were doing whilst Knull was trying to invade. This iteration of the team was put together by Mayor Wilson Fisk, and he appoints Taskmaster to lead the team. Now we do get to see some familiar faces like Sentry, but that doesn't go the way that you might suspect. Let's not waste any more time, let's go. We kick things off with Mayor Wilson Fisk recording a video message, intending to give the public an update on the chaos gripping the city. He had a plan, a team of reformed criminals called the Thunderbolts, created to save the world during Knull's invasion. Only problem? On a top secret mission, they all died. Flashback to a few days earlier. Fisk is ranting and raving in a massive meeting room filled with a handful of recognizable villains. He lays it out. There's a giant alien god named Knull, about to crash land on Earth to wipe out everyone and everything. And Fisk honestly thinks Knull might pull it off. Full extinction. These crooks have 2 choices. They can suit up, try to stop Knull, maybe even save the world and become heroes, and get filthy rich while they're at it. Or, Fisk will toss them into a jail cell and let Knull kill them anyway. No pressure. One guy, Incendiary, isn't having it. He tries to quit, hoping for a quiet cell somewhere. Fisk agrees and has him escorted out. Batroc the Leaper tries to ask about payment when another guy, Ampere, also fails. But then, gunshots echo outside. Fisk just smiles and implies that Incendiary didn't make it very far. Suddenly, everyone at the table is a lot more eager to sign up. Rhino asks the important question. How exactly are they supposed to stop an alien god? Fisk flat out admits he's got no clue, but he knows someone who might. He slams down the contracts, while Taskmaster stays suspicious. Mr. Fair points out that nobody knows who Star is. Fisk fills them in. Star's the powerhouse, the big weapon, and their job is to keep her alive long enough to maybe scratch Knull. But there's one more catch. Fisk recently banned masked vigilantes, so no masks. Everyone has to show their faces. Naturally, none of them are happy about that. Taskmaster grumbles about the team name. Thunderbolts. Seriously? He points out it was originally a Nazi's idea to fake being a hero to try and take over the world. Fisk brushes it off, says he owns the copyright, so that's the end of discussion. The newly assembled Thunderbolts, now marching through a deserted symbiote-infested city, aren't exactly in great spirits. Mr. Fear jokingly pitches a new name, the Hope League, all while Snakehead complains that the Thunderbolts doesn't even make sense. A lightning bolt or a thunderclap makes sense, although a thunderbolt isn't a real thing. But mid-sentence, a massive symbiote dragon swoops down and bites her clean in half. Only her legs hit the ground. The team panics. Taskmaster tries to rally them, but the dragon strikes hard, knocking him off his feet. Star blasts the beast with her powers, but can't quite finish it. She needs help. Mr. Fear tosses out his signature fear gas, confusing the dragon just long enough for Star to blast its head clean off. Victory. But it's not pretty. Star faints, exhausted from the effort. Ampere freaks out. Snakehead's dead, their heavy hit just collapsed. He's out. He tries to quit, but before he even gets a few steps away, Mr. Fear casually stabs him in the back. Problem solved. At least for Fisk, who no longer has to track him down for betraying the team. The rest of the team is furious. They needed Ampere's powers. Mr. Fear just shrugs and loots Ampere's electrified bracelets like a prize. Taskmaster lays it out. Anyone else wants to leave? They'll have to go through him. Rhino, towering over Taskmaster, calmly says he's done too. Taskmaster, not wanting to pick that fight, politely steps aside. As Rhino stomps away, Taskmaster mutters that he'd rather fight a symbiote dragon again rather than mess with Rhino. The team strips Ampere's body for gear, splits up his gadgets and keep moving, leaving behind 2 dead teammates, whose bodies are slowly being absorbed by the symbiote goo. As they make their way through the ruined city, they're still on the hunt for Fisk's secret contact. Taskmaster isn't optimistic. He knows the guy they're looking for, and it's not about if he can help, it's whether he even cares to. Meanwhile, Mr. Fear, being the scumbag he is, loots a jewelry store mid-walk. Taskmaster's arguing with him when they spot the Defenders. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist battling a swarm of symbiotes. There's a quick debate. Should they help? Mr. Fear points out that these heroes would lock them up in a heartbeat. So why risk it? Taskmaster reluctantly agrees. They decide to focus on their own mission and take another route to continue. Star isn't thrilled about the decision, but before they can argue more, another symbiote beast ambushes them. It leaps onto Mr. Fear, and Taskmaster wastes no time slicing its head off with an electrified sword. Here's the kicker. The symbiote had possessed Ampere's body. Yeah, the symbiote goo is that dangerous. The team starts panicking when they realize an entire swarm is now chasing them. They bolt for the pier, hoping to find a boat. Bartrock, using Ampere's electrified leg braces, does his best to hold off the horde as the others sprint ahead. Taskmaster and Mr. Fear prepare the boat, while Star watches as they begin to sail away, leaving Bartrock behind as he sprints towards the edge of the pier. At the last second, Bartrock makes an insane leap, soaring through the air and landing gracefully on the boat. Instantly, every weapon is pointed at him. Did the symbiotes touch you? Did you bring any of that goo with you? Bartrock swears he's clean. Finally, they reach their destination, Ravencroft Institute, one of the few places Fisk never evacuated. Inside, they're supposed to find their secret weapon against Knull. They barely make it through the doors when they're greeted by none other than Norman Osborn. So now that the Thunderbolts have tracked down Norman Osborn at Ravencroft, things take a wild turn. Mr. Fear, thinking quick but not exactly smart, suggests busting out some of the inmates to replace the teammates they've already lost. Only problem? He's got no clue who most of these psychos even are. Meanwhile, Taskmaster is side-eyeing Norman hard, like, why aren't you your usual crazy self? But Norman's all, hey, I'm just trying to be helpful here, even though he's throwing major doubt at the team of Thunderbolts that Fisk sent to rescue him. And then, classic Mr. Fear moment, he calls Fisk a fat man, totally unaware that they're already talking to Fisk live on a video call. First thing that Fisk asks is whether or not Taskmaster is dead. Taskmaster steps up to the camera, real casual, and Fisk immediately orders him to punch Mr. Fear. And Taskmaster, he's way too happy to deliver, smacks him right in the face, no hesitation. With that, Fisk officially names Taskmaster as the new leader of the Thunderbolts. Then Fisk clears the room, wanting a private chat with Taskmaster and Norman Osborn. While they're scheming, Mr. Fear is wandering around and spots a familiar face, an old pal, Figment, locked up among the inmates. She doesn't recognize him at first since Fisk had all their masks removed, but once she figures it out, she's like, hey, can you let me out? Bartrock the Leaper instantly shuts this down, saying they've already got enough idiots on the team. The two start bickering like school kids until Bartrock straight up pins Mr. Fear against a wall with a boot to the throat. Real professional vibes here. But before anyone can throw more punches, chaos literally crashes down. A massive explosion blows open the ceiling. Another symbiote dragon comes crashing through, sliming up the place with symbiote goo that continues to infect the inmates, turning them into twisted monsters. Taskmaster wastes no time, no more playing around. Masks on, screw Fisk's orders. And just like that, the Thunderbolts gear up to survive. Although Norman, he pieces out fast, claiming he's gonna check the rest of Ravencroft. As the team throws down with the symbiote-possessed inmates, Mr. Fear can't help but gloat, reminding everyone that he already suggested recruiting inmates earlier. And now look, even Knull thought it was a good idea. They wipe out the first wave, mocking one unlucky inmate who picked the villain name Night Scrubber. But the symbiote numbers keep piling up, and the team's forced to make a run for it, busting out inmates still breathing and shoving them along with Mr. Fear to safety. Outside, just to top off this nightmare, a symbiote deer is minding its business, standing in the road, and immediately gets obliterated by the stolen prisoner bus. Inside the bus, Taskmaster shares Norman's real plan with Star. She can use her powers to find a particular person who's giving off a ton of energy, and maybe it will lead them to something they can use against Knull. Star's not super confident she can pull it off, but Taskmaster's idea of motivation is to kick her out the back of the moving bus. As Star flies off to focus her powers, Taskmaster updates the squad. Now beefed up with Figment, Manbull, Mr. Hyde, Grizzly, and Fool Killer, that they're following Norman's wild plan. Meanwhile, the bus is crawling along because Mr. Fear's driving incredibly slow. When called out for it, he protests, "I'm crazy, not suicidal," claiming that the speed limit still applies during the apocalypse. They're so busy arguing that they don't notice the bridge ahead is completely gone. The bus soars off the broken edge, but before they all die horribly, Star swoops in and saves them, burning through nearly all of her energy. She can barely stand afterwards, but manages to croak out that she's found the source of the energy signal. Taskmaster wastes no time and tells her to lead on. They leave the inmates behind in the bus and hike down to Jones Beach, following Star's lead. And there, poking out from under a bush, they spot a pair of legs. Not a person, just legs. Turns out, it's the Sentry, or what's left of him. Knull straight up ripped the guy in half. No epic superhero save, no backup plan, just death. And here's the kicker, Taskmaster wasn't planning to recruit the Sentry. We're gonna use him as a bomb. The team's just standing around, waiting for Star to fish out Sentry's torso from the river. She eventually pops out the water, dragging the top half of Sentry's body behind her. It's nasty. Even Star's grossed out. And that's saying something considering the crew she's rolling with. Everyone's kinda stunned. I mean, they're being sent to take down Knull, the god of the symbiotes. And here's Sentry, one of Marvel's heaviest hitters, ripped by the same god they're supposed to be attempting to kill. Mr. Fear points out that the squad is suicide, like a suicide team, all while getting way too handsy examining Sentry's corpse in a way that's just weird. Cut back to the bus. Sentry's two halves have been slapped back together with what looks like medical tape and a prayer. Mr. Hyde's questioning Taskmaster's plan. Why the hell are they heading back into the city? Straight towards Knull. Taskmaster points to the massive floating orb. That's Knull's headquarters. And the plan? Real simple. Blow that thing up. Of course, the bus is barely hanging on by a thread. They'll have to move incredibly fast, so Taskmaster suggests ditching the inmate prisoners they recently picked up. Star, being the voice of reason, calls him out, reminding him that they're gonna need all the bodies they can get. So reluctantly, Taskmaster knights Figment, Fool Killer, Man-Bull, Mr. Hyde and Grizzly as honorary Thunderbolts. Although to be fair, Mr. Hyde's already been a Thunderbolt. They head out, but it doesn't take long for things to go sideways. Symbiotes start swarming, so Taskmaster and Star make a pact. If things go south, Star's got to ditch the team, take Sentry's body, and finish the mission solo. The first casualty? Fool Killer. He gets blindsided and infected. Taskmaster, in a rare moment of humanity, actually tries to save him and immediately regrets it, getting completely surrounded by symbiotes. It looks like he's about to get shredded until Star unleashes a full-on energy blast, vaporizing the symbiotes, and shocking the hell out of everyone. It's a reminder, Star's not just tough, she's dangerous. They keep pushing forward, talking about the ticking time bomb they're carrying. Sentry's body could literally blow up with the force of 1,000 suns if Star channels her power into it. So yeah, no pressure. They make it to the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's a nightmare. A literal army of symbiotes waiting at the other side. No way through on foot. Their new plan? Climb to the highest point of the bridge to get as close as possible to Knull's lair, then launch the bomb. Taskmaster stays behind to hold the line, or so it seems. The second he's out of sight, he bails and hides around the corner. He calls Fisk to confirm he's got his payout and promises he's disappearing for good. As he's talking, he literally peels off a fake face. Yeah, he was wearing a disguise this whole time. Turns out that regardless of Fisk's no mask rule, he still doesn't know what Taskmaster looks like. Fisk doesn't even expect the plan to work. He just wanted to look like he tried, so the Avengers don't get all the credit later, assuming that they do save the day. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolts are trying to stick to their plan. They strap Sentry's corpse to Star and send her flying towards Knull's orb. Problem is, she's fast, but not faster than the symbiote dragons. She's about to get taken down when Taskmaster shows back up. He yells for them to stop Star before she kills herself and all of them in the blast. Time's running out. Bartrock steps up. He gets Man-Bull, Grizzly, and Mr. Hyde to literally launch him into the air. Another impressive leap, trying to reach Star mid-flight. It's crazy to see, but he falls just short. Now, cut to Mayor Fisk and Typhoid Mary watching from a safe balcony. They see the explosion go off in the distance, a blast so powerful it rattles them even from miles away. Fisk smirks, ready to spin the story, recording a message saying how the Thunderbolts bravely gave their lives to stop Knull. He figures the Avengers will clean up whatever's left, and he'll still walk away looking like a hero. But then, the Thunderbolts burst into the room, alive, battered, and seriously angry. Fisk's mid-lie, talking about how proud he is when they call him out for it. They cannot believe that Kingpin was just talking about how they're all dead. Well, other than the ones who died, they're all still alive. He tries to play it off, acting thrilled, but the Thunderbolts aren't buying it. Taskmaster lays it out. Figment. Remember her? Her power is creating massive illusions. They never actually blew up Sentry's body. The explosion was fake, and now the Thunderbolts have a little bit of leverage. The voters aren't gonna like it when they find out Fisk has been lying the whole time. However, they're not just asking Fisk for hush money. They want permanent jobs, high salaries, real positions on Fisk's Thunderbolt team. Blackmail 101. And Fisk, he's got no choice but to pay up. Now, if you're craving more Marvel content, make sure to check out the rest of my page where I upload every single week. But for the meantime, peace, peace, peace.